Christina, and we're going to do one more tutorial on using gelatos, and we're going to do a little emboss resist kind of technique. So I just have a background stamp. I don't have a lot of background stamps. I wish I had more, and I think that's going to be one of my goals, is to get some more background stamps, because I really enjoyed doing this technique that I'm going to show you today. So I'm going to take my background stamp, I'm inking it up with some Versamark, and then we're going to go ahead and emboss it with white embossing powder. So I'm just going to make sure this is good and inked up. I'm going to take a piece of watercolor paper. This is the Tim Holtz watercolor paper, and I'm going to use the smooth side. And we're going to put that right down onto our background stamp, and then I'm going to just take a piece of scrap paper, and I'm just going to rub all over it just to make sure I get the image stamped on there nicely. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull this off. Make sure I get the corners. There we go. And you're not going to be able to see the stamped image really well until I start adding some color. So I'm going to go and use some white embossing powder, which I am just going to sprinkle it right out of my container and right onto my stamped image. Just pour this back in, and then we'll go ahead and use our heat gun to set our embossing powder. Alright, so I went ahead and set my embossing powder, and I'm just going to take some water and spritz it onto my watercolor paper here, and I'm just going to make sure it's good and soaked. And now I'm going to use 2 gelatos for this one. This is the Earl Grey, and the other one is called Chocolate. Earl Grey is going to be the one that I'm going to use first, and I'm just going to clean up a little bit of this water here. And I'm just going to take it and put it right onto my mat here, and I've had a lot of questions about my mat. This is just very much like the Tim Holtz or the Ranger mat. It's the heat resistant mat, and I got mine at I want to say Home Depot, I meant Hobby Lobby. So I'm just going to add some water to my gelatos, and I am going to then just paint it right onto my card front, and I'm mainly doing this in the middle because I'm going to come in with the chocolate color to come in off the sides. And it's still not going to show up very well on the camera, and hopefully it will show a little bit better once I get that other color added onto here. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is come in with our chocolate color. So I'm just going to go ahead and scribble that onto my craft mat. Add some water to this as well. And for this, I'm going to come in from the sides and just kind of pull in from each side to the center. I'm going to add a little bit more of the brown on here. And then we'll kind of feather it in the middle. And then once I have this all nice and done, I'm going to go ahead and heat it with my heat gun. And I think I might even want to add a little bit more brown to this, but I really kind of get a better feel once I have it all heat set. Okay, before I finish drying this, I am going to add some more brown. I want it to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to add more brown, maybe add a little less water this time. And we'll start pulling it in. There we go. That's the color I'm looking for. All right. So if you want it to be a little bit darker, just use a little bit less water, and maybe drying it a little bit helped too. And I'm just going to kind of feather in those colors. So that kind of helped pop up the embossed section a little bit more. So now I'm going to go ahead and finish drying this, and then I'll show you a card that we're going to put together. Alright, so that is pretty dry. I really like how it came out, so that's going to be, so the text is going in the right direction. Really like how that turned out. So I'm going to do a little die cutting, and we're going to put a card together. I'm going to use this thanks sentiment that comes from Simon Says Stamp, and it's just a die. So we're going to put this right onto my Big Shot here, so it's down towards the bottom. And then I need to grab my other acrylic plate. Alright, so I went ahead and die cut my thanks sentiment, and I am actually going to pop this out. And I think if I do it carefully, we'll be able to keep all our little pieces together, because I'm going to show you a little trick on how I saved all those little pieces stayed inside, like between the A and the H. I'm going to show you how I do that to set this in. So I added some score tape to the back of my stamped image, and I used my thicker score tape just so that I knew it would hold down very well, because with the water and stuff, the page got a little warped. So the next thing I'm going to do is just add a little bit of my Zig 2x glue all around the area that I stamped, or cut out rather. And I do find if you kind of tap it a little bit, you get a little bit more glue out of your pen. This way it'll stay wet a little longer. So we're going to go ahead and put this down onto our card base, and my card base is going to be a crumb cake card base from Stampin' Up, and it's the same exact, my piece here is the same exact size. And we're just going to go ahead and line this up and adhere it down. And then adding the zig behind those cutout pieces helped hold that into place a little bit better. So now I have my little thanks sentiment cut out here. I'm going to take the section that I cut out with my die piece, and I am going to go ahead and take my Zig 2A glue pen here, and I'm just going to add adhesive to the sections, like the center parts of each of the letters. And that is going to give me adhesive on those back pieces that I can then, I'm going to take this, put it right back into place, and then I'm going to take my paper piercer and use that to hold down those middle pieces. So that'll be holding those in place, and then I could just pop these up, and there's already adhesive on the back, so they'll just stay where they belong. So there we go, that held those into place just by adding that little bit of adhesive. There is a kind of ballpoint 2-way glue pen that you can use too. So, and then you also have your thanks sentiment that you can use on another card if you like. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this card up. I'm going to use some of my lawn trimmings. Alright, so we're just going to use some lawn trimmings. This is the Lawn Fawn lawn trimmings, and I believe it's called Cloudy. And we're going to wrap that around, and I'm going to grab my scissors and tie this into a bow. Now this is a hemp cord, so it's a little bit thicker, and I just like the way it ties up in a bow. So what I did was I added a little bit of glossy accents to the center of my bow just to keep it into place on my card, because with it being a thicker hemp cord, it will kind of move around a little bit. And then the last thing I'm going to do is add a few enamel dots. Alright, so I'm just going to add my enamel dots, and I picked a color that was a little bit lighter than the brown color. And I'm just going to stick a couple of these right onto my card front, maybe put one down here. So there's my card for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'm really having a good time playing with the gelatos. I have to say that using them with the embossing powder and doing the resist technique is definitely my most favorite so far, and I definitely have to get myself some more background stamps because I really enjoyed doing this technique, and I want to definitely try some other resist kind of techniques. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to thumbs up if you liked the video, leave a comment, and if you're new, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see everybody in the next video.